Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today at the Emirates Center for Strategic Studies and Research for this dialogue session titled Bilateral Relations between the UAE and the Islamic Republic of Pakistan with His Excellency Faisal Niyaz Tyrmizi. Our session today is an important deep dive into one of the most vital and long-standing relationships in the region. The UAE and Pakistan are and have been connected by so many aspects, and the partnership between the two is one that is continuously improving and evolving. And we're privileged to have with us arguably the best possible person to break down and explain the bilateral relations between our two countries. So before we begin, it's my pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker. Joining us today is His Excellency Faisal Niyaz Tyrmizi, Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan to the United Arab Emirates. Ambassador Tyrmizi has had a long and illustrious career in his country's foreign service, representing Pakistan as envoy in Kyrgyzstan and consul general in Chicago, as well as diplomatic postings in Turkmenistan and the United Nations headquarters in Geneva. He knows the UAE very well, as he actually previously served in a role in Abu Dhabi. And he has played an important role in several different capacities in his country's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. On a personal note, His Excellency and I have something in common, which is that we're both graduates of SOAS University in London, so we have good taste.
Yes.
My name is Nasser Al-Banna. I'm a researcher in South Asian affairs here at the ECSSR, and I'm truly honored to moderate today's discussion. So the way this is going to work is we're going to have our dialogue session. I'm going to ask His Excellency a few questions, and then afterwards we're going to open up for questions from the audience. So with that, let's begin.
Please.
So, Your Excellency, I'm going to start with a general question. How would you characterize the current state of UAE-Pakistan bilateral relations? And what do you consider the most defining moments in the history of this diplomatic relationship?
Thank you, Hassan. Thank you for such a nice introduction, and thanks to Dr. Ali and all the participants who are present here today. That's what I was, before I coming here, I said that my first visit to this center was in 2007 March. So I've been a regular visitor, and it's a great opportunity to speak in the center today. The relationship is now rooted in history. The relationship was not created when the UAE emerged as a union in 1971. Historical ties between the people and the leaders of the two countries go back to centuries. But the real relationship started in the early 60s when Sheikh Zayed was, may Allah have raised his darjat, was the rulers represented in a land, and Pakistanis started coming to this country in big numbers. It really gained a lot of momentum when he became the ruler of Abu Dhabi in 1966. And when we started sending our agricultural experts, economic experts, city planners, bankers in large numbers. In fact, the first contingent of Pakistani troops was sent in the late 60s, and we sent an economic advisor in 1968 who set up the economic department, and then he played a pivotal role in setting up so this relationship has a historical legacy. There are many great defining features of this relationship, which was laid, the foundation was laid by Sheikh Zayed and Pakistani leadership. But this is not restricted to the leadership alone. It is amongst the people as well. Because I have met many Emiratis whose grandparents are buried in Pakistan. They were doing trade with Karachi, with Hyderabad in the 19th, 20th century. So, and you know, frankly, that's what I tell everyone. For a Pakistani, UAE is not it's a home away from home. This is a manifestation of such an important place which has done so well over the years, because I've been following the development myself from 1988 when I was still in college and I had the opportunity to visit this country. And my first interaction with the UAE was as when I organized the visit of His Highness Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan in 1994. That's when I had just started a year in the Foreign Office. So the latest high mark was the visit of the Crown Prince, His Highness Sheikh Khalid, and we were very happy to welcome him in Pakistan. And what he was saying in his interaction at the delegation level talks, as well as his one-on-one discussion with the Prime Minister and the President, was that his memories of this relation goes back to his childhood. I have heard it 3-4 times by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan that when he was growing up, he only knew 2 countries. So that visit in April 2025 was the new thing, that when we started to engage 2 countries in economic interaction, we signed agreements in ports, in shipping, in railway, in mining, in banking sectors. Because we have to translate this extremely important relationship into an economic tool. What we have witnessed, the UAE has become a major economic and political hub of the region. And we believe that both countries can learn from each other's experiences and they can augment each other. Pakistan provides the shortest route to the Western China and Central Asia, to Middle East and Africa. And similarly, it provides the shortest route to GCC countries, especially UAE, to Western China, Central Asia and Afghanistan. So that's what we are really working on, because Pakistan is at the crossroads of 3 very important regions of the world. You know, there's a river which runs through the length of the country. It starts in Tibet, China, enters Pakistan, and it enters the Arabian Sea close to Karachi. That's what we say, this is the border area. East of that river is South Asia. That river is called Sindh, and India got its name from that river. Northwest of that river is Central Asia, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan. And southwest of that river is Middle East. So Pakistan is the natural connector and bridge between 3 important regions, which comprises, frankly, around 4 billion people. Half the humanity lives around Pakistan. India is 1.4 billion, China is 1.4 billion. Pakistan itself is a country of 250 million. So this is a natural connector. And that's what the both countries are really working on, to make a connector, a bridge to the rest of the world. In a time when the world is faced with a lot of conflict, both countries are working on to have more people to people, business to business, culture to culture interaction. In fact, yesterday there was a beautiful performance in Dubai, and I was part of that. It was by the Aga Khan. His son was there, His Highness Muhammad Ali, and was there, and there were musicians from all over the world, and there were 2 musicians from Pakistan as well. So that's what the world needs more, that there's a need for more effort to understand each other. There's more effort to do more trade with each other. There is more effort to understand each other. And I think the best example of that is the UAE, where 200 different communities, irrespective of the religions, of their beliefs, of their cultures, live in harmony. So Pakistan wants to be a part of that connector with the world join hands. So that visit was a great high mark. If you ask me, in my 3 years, there have been a number of visits, but I was very happy that the economic interaction has started in full swings. And then the next few years, you will see more connectivity, not only between the 2 countries, but between the 3 different regions, where Pakistan lies right in the center.
Well, thank you for that answer, because for one reason, it gives me a lot to follow up on. On the field of economics, as you touched on, the UAE, as we know, is a major player, for example, in foreign direct investment in Pakistan. And as you mentioned, our 2 countries have recently increased efforts to bolster economic ties. So my question for you is, what sectors have you seen the most growth in? And where do you feel there is still untapped potential?
Bilateral trade between Pakistan and UAE is around $10 billion. I have always maintained this is just the tip of the iceberg. The potential is much more. As I said, in the last visit of His Highness Sheikh Khalid to Pakistan, we've identified ports. Already Abu Dhabi ports and DP World are working in Pakistan. And that would be something very important for two countries to have greater, easier access of people and goods. Now there's a proposal also Pakistan is working on that we'll be starting a ferry service between the two countries. Then of course, one very significant project that UAE Ittihad Rail is working with Pakistan is the construction of our railway link, north-south railway link between North Peshawar to Karachi. It will be dual carriage. And that would be the natural connectors through Afghanistan to Central Asia, as well as to China at one stage. So, and then the third thing that we are really working on is the mineral. You have discovered that in the last 5-10 years, Pakistan has discovered one of the largest reservoirs of gold and copper in Reko. And we are looking to further that expansion between Pakistan. If you go to Pakistan, you will see there's a great phenomena going on in that river, Indus. I was there in Pakistan 6 months ago, and I went to a colleague's home who lives on the banks of the river Indus, and a lot of people were panning out water. I said, what? They said there's a lot of gold in this. So they are trying to identify where the gold is coming from. One thing. One potential where both countries can work very closely is IT. As I said, Pakistan is a country of 250 million. 68% are under 30. We have the highest number of second highest number of freelancers. So there's a lot of potential that we can work because, the coming age is of AI. UAE has already had a minister. So AI Pakistan can work on. That's one potential that we. Second thing that I personally like to work that the countries can collaborate in education as well. There is so much collaboration because, as I say, that Pakistan in the US, where I was posted there, has 34 Pakistani trained doctors, the second highest number in the world. Cleveland Clinic, Abu Dhabi, there are 51 Pakistani trained doctors. So Pakistani doctors is one thing that we can have more collaboration between the two countries. And of course, we already have cooperation in defense field, in banking fields, agriculture. Pakistan has one of the best wheat, mangoes, agriculture potential. And the Indus Valley is a blessing from Almighty to the people of South Asia and to the world. It has the potential to not only feed itself, but to meet the needs of other countries as well. And that's a cooperation that we are really working on.
That's insightful and I would say exciting as well. You touched on both the concept of collaborating on ports and you brought up Karachi. So I think the natural continuation in this context is to ask you about the Karachi port. So I would say that the Emirati-Pakistani economic and logistical relationship is reflected in the joint effort to develop Karachi port. So I wanted to ask you how important you think that specific project is, and where do you see it going?
No, Karachi has been an entry point to South Asia historically. And I'm very happy that UAE is not only investing in Karachi port, but also Port Qasim, which is 60-80 kilometers east of Karachi. Two important ports of Pakistan. And that would be because, that's the most exciting thing. The world is now integrating. The world is now opening up. In fact, if the Karachi port's capacity increases, it will really reduce the time of traveling, of transportation of goods from the GCC to Western China and Central Asia. And conversely, from Central Asia, Afghanistan, and Western China to the GCC in Africa. So that is a landmark project that the two countries are working on. And Pakistan really appreciates, of course, besides the ports, UAE is also working on the airports. We are very close that Pakistan is in the final stages of negotiating to hand over the Islamabad airport to the UAE for management. Interestingly, Pakistanis had played a critical role in setting up of the Emirates airline. All of you must have heard the story of EK001 was Emirates Karachi 001. It was 2 aircrafts given by PIA to the UAE, and I have had the honor of meeting the pilots of those aircraft and the crew of those aircrafts who operated those historical flights. So, but now UAE is a main transportation hub. So we want more collab. Although there are over 500 flights a week between the two countries, but the potential is to increase it further. So not only ports, airports, logistics is the real thing. That the world wants to access the untapped markets of Central Asia and Afghanistan, and Pakistan provides the shortest and the easiest routes. What we need, we already have the road infrastructure. Now we need to strengthen the railway links, we need to strengthen the airport links, and we need to strengthen the ports links. And that would be the real strength. And this can unleash a lot of potential for economic growth, not only for the two countries, but to the whole regions. It will be an opportunity for the whole regions to integrate. And that's what I am working on.
Well, we've talked now about the economic relationship and we've talked about the logistical. So if you don't mind, I'd like to shift to the more, you can say, strategic. So something interesting I would say about the UAE and Pakistan is that we both share common values when it comes to the importance of stability and security in the region. So my first question is, how do you envision a hypothetical, maybe joint effort between our countries to counter the influence of non-state actors and to preserve this concept of the nation state?
Nation state is a fundamental pillar of the existing international order. And the biggest threat to that are the non-state actors. And Pakistan as a country has suffered a lot because historically, that's what I share with a lot of people. I was in grade 5 in primary school when the Soviet army entered Afghanistan on the Christmas Day 1979. And I have seen the impact of that conflict even today. The conflict started 46 years ago. I was in primary school, and in a couple of years I'll be retiring. So that one conflict and non-state actors has had a deep impact in Pakistan and in global politics. We have paid the price as well. In fact, as we speak right now, Pakistan has been under threat by the non-state actors, unfortunately, who have safe havens in our western borders and the support from other countries. So one thing that we should all understand, that we tell to our interlocutors, that the security is not a zero-sum game. It's a win-win situation. When you are strengthening non-state actors, you are undermining yourself. And that would be the worst thing that any state can do to the whole infrastructure. So Pakistan has paid with its blood. We have lost over 120,000 people in the last 20 years because of the non-state actors. Over $200 billion of economic losses. But we have been able to reverse the influence. And that's what we want between the two countries, that we have to have a strategic relationship. 1 month ago, I had the honor of visiting the new air chief of the UAE. And he showed me the photographs of the first 4 air chiefs of UAE were Pakistanis. A similar role of the Navy, of the land forces. So we have been a strategic partners all through it. If you go to Alan, most of the flight instructors that you find are from Pakistan. And I've always taken the pride that even the instructor of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed al Sultan al Nahyan was a Pakistani Air Force officer. So we have a lot of collaboration between our two countries in defense field, in counterterrorism, but we want to take it to the next level, where there is so much, because amongst friends and brothers, that's what I say. I always consider this society, this country as my home. Frankly, there is no other country in the world where I feel more at home than I do here. And if you meet a lot of Emiratis, they would say the same about Pakistani, because it's the cultural familiarity. And as the two major states of the region, we have to collaborate more, not only amongst ourselves, but among other partners. Right now, Pakistan is the chair of the Security Council for this month of July. And that's what we are focusing on, collective security, collective peace, in order to create an environment where businesses can grow, where cultures can grow, where there's more people-to-people interaction, where there's more sporting interaction, where there's more musical interaction, where there's more learning of each other's poetry and each other's literature. So that's what we are working on. So this is something very important, and I'm so happy that the leadership of both countries are open to this thing. We have a regular dialogue with the UAE, right at the top to the strategic level as well, where we share sensitive information, where we use each other's places. Pakistan uses UAE as a hub for its track 2 diplomacy as well. A lot of our issues that we have with other countries are discussed in this country because we feel at ease and home here. The other countries feel at home and ease here. So that's the good thing about the two countries.
Of course, we couldn't agree more with the sentiment of the depth and importance of the relationship, especially in this field of security. To kind of zoom in a bit to a more specific regional question, how do you think that Emirati-Pakistani alignment can be utilized in handling the issues currently affecting specifically the Middle East?
That's what I was talking, in fact, with Brother Ali when I came here, that I hope this has been a terrible year in fact of conflict in the whole region, especially in Middle East, and especially if you open today's newspapers, what we are witnessing right now is unbelievable, basically, because where children are being starved, people are being starved, and that we are deeply concerned. We greatly appreciate the stabilizing role of the UAE in providing the humanitarian support to the people of Gaza and Palestine. And then we see what is happening in Syria in the last 1 year. It is of deep concern to us. And as I would join it back to our previous discussion, that we have to make sure that these conflicts have to be resolved and settled down. Because one thing that I have learned through my experience of almost 4 years in the Foreign Service is once a conflict starts, it never stays in the region. It always escalates. So as two very close partners, Pakistan is playing a role, UAE is playing a role. In fact, we had a session, we passed a resolution in the Security Council that there should be an end of conflict in the Middle East, especially in Gaza and Palestine. And the targeting of innocent women, children, and civilians should not be, because this is something, the world has really changed over the years. People are witnessing this firsthand, and it has an impact not only in the region, but globally. So this is our great endeavor between the two countries to ensure that there's an end to this conflict and there's a resolution. Because like the UAE, Pakistan believes in a two-state solution. And that is the only way, because they can't wish each other away. There are two realities, Israel and Palestine. They have to live side by side with each other. And this conflict is only adding to fire. And the way it is being documented, it could have an impact, not only in the Islamic world, but globally as well. Because I read a lot of Western press, and now they are reporting it quite extensively, that what's happening. And we hope that sanity prevails. And there are voices within Israel as well. I read Haaretz quite regularly, and they have been a strong proponent that there should be an end. What happened in October 7 it cannot be condoned. But the response has been disproportionate. And now with targeting of food chain supplies and starvation is something that the world is witnessing, what we witnessed in Ethiopia in the 80s. So we are witnessing a replay of that thing. So I hope, and I strongly believe that Pakistan and UAE and all countries who have a heart, because that's what I all believe. The best thing about the UAE, and that's what I say in our service, is that we understand their truths beside your truths. Their truths in different cultures, different civilizations, different beliefs. And we have to learn to live and respect each other. And the basic respect of human rights is the right to food, right to life, right to water. So that's where both countries are working very closely in addressing this issue. And I hope this would be resolved in foreseeable future.
Again, another aspect where our countries couldn't agree more is the desire for peace and prosperity. To stay on the concept of prosperity, I told you I was going to zoom in. Now I want to zoom in even further into the UAE itself. You touched on this previously, but of course, the presence of the Pakistani community in the UAE is well known. It's historical, and it's a major part of the special relationship our two countries share. So in your opinion, what makes the UAE specifically a special place for the Pakistani diaspora? And how important are these cultural bonds that are formed as a result of it?
Pakistani community has been coming here, as I said, historically, but it really started in the early 60s. The presence of 1.7 Pakistani community, we are the second biggest component in the UAE, and they have played a critical role historically. As I said, I've always told you the story of Emirates Airlines, RDR, Air Force, Navy. But these people have really, I have met Pakistanis whose fourth generation is living in this country. So this is how deep the relationship are between the two countries. But it's not a one-way traffic. It's a two-way traffic. I've had the honor of meeting Mr. Salem Oloma, who was the president of National Bank of Dubai. His one son is Under Secretary of Energy of UAE. The other son is Under Secretary of Health. And his nephew is the Minister for Artificial Intelligence. He told me that his grandparents, uncle and aunts, are buried in Karachi. So they were sending goods from Karachi to Dubai in the 1920s and 30s and 40s at that time. So these are the two linkages. So the people-to-people link is the most important link. They are the workers, the Talabat riders, the masons, the security guards, scientists, professors, businessmen, entrepreneurs, bankers. So we have a whole galaxy of Pakistani living here. That's what I say. Someone was asking me, which is the best city of South Asia. I said the best city of South Asia is Dubai or Abu Dhabi, because all South Asians are here. So Pakistanis they have been a part of this miracle that happened in this part of the world. And they have that cultural understanding, the familiarity. we know each other very well because we have the same value system. So that's one thing that has been a great sense of strength. So this year we'll be celebrating the Pakistan Day on the August 14. And you know, I am overwhelmed with my calendar, right from Silla, Liva, Bidda Zayed, Abu Dhabi to Khurfa Khan. They are celebrations. And you know, the most beautiful thing about all those celebrations is that the Emiratis and people from other communities are part of that celebration. So these people have played a critical role. The other day, I went to see a good Emirati friend. He's moved to a beautiful penthouse on the 32nd floor. He said there was something wrong with the lift. He said the Pakistanis lifted all my furniture to the 32nd floor. So that's how the Pakistanis workforce is a source of strength. In 12 million Pakistanis are living outside the country. And we are respected. As I said, 34,000 Pakistani doctors. There are 4,000 doctors here. So Pakistanis have been a part of this global phenomena. They're outgoing people. But this is a home away from home for them as well. And as I said, I've met fourth generation people who came here in the 50s. The great-grandfather came here, and the great-grandson is now working in this country. So that is the beauty of the whole thing. And they are the people who make this relationship so special.